Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Gadigal people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello there and welcome to a very special Squiz Kids Q&A, part of our ongoing series of interviews with people in the news where you, the kids of Australia, get to ask the questions. I'm Bryce Corbett. Today we're delighted to welcome to the Squiz Kids hot seat the incredible, the irreplaceable, the king of the treehouse and friend of peanut butter beasts everywhere, Australia's favourite best-selling kids author, Mr. Andy Griffiths. Welcome back to Squiz Kids, Andy. It's so good to have you on the podcast again.
It's great to be back. Thank you very much.
Now, you've just written a new book called You and Me and the Peanut Butter Beast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it started with my favourite book, which is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. She falls down a rabbit hole. And I said to Bill, the illustrator, I want me and you, the characters, to fall down a hole. But I want them to fall down when they get to the bottom of that one, another hole, and then another hole. And I want the whole book to be them just falling down a hole. Eventually, we did have to stop. And at the bottom, I thought, what's the worst thing you could find? It'd be a peanut butter monster that's hungry for peanut butter. And on the way down one of our holes, we were having a peanut butter sandwich picnic.
As you do.
And it exploded. It got all over us. So we're covered in peanut butter, confronted with the peanut butter monster.
And the peanut butter monster comes out and chases you through the centre of the earth. I love it. Now, you're also going to be at the Sydney Opera House on September 6th, launching your new book alongside the illustrator, Bill Hope. What will be going on at that particular event?
It's going to be really exciting because Bill is a very fast drawer and he can draw almost anything that I suggest. And in this case, the audience will be suggesting things for him to draw. So
fantastic.
I mean, I'm fantastic, but Bill is like next level. So I think together with the audience, we're going to have a lot of fun that day.
That sounds amazing. And of course, at the end of this podcast, you'll be selecting one question from all of the hundreds that were sent in to us. And that one person will be the winner of a free double pass to come and see you live at the Opera House.
Yeah, I'll do my best to pick the best question.
Now, on the subject of questions, this is your fourth time in the Squiz Kids Q&A hot seat. And each time we have you in, we receive a flood of questions from kids all over Australia. This time we had hundreds of questions sent to us. Each one of them was excellent, and thank you to everybody who sent in a question, but we've only got time for 10. Are you ready to jump straight in?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Let's do it then. And the first question comes from Fionn in Western Australia. Take it away, Fionn.
My question is, was your childhood dream always to become an author, or did you want to become something else when you were younger?
I always loved reading. It was very vivid, favourite pastime, but I didn't know you could actually be an author. And I guess as I got a little older, I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be like my heroes, Alice Cooper and David Bowie. So I was writing stories in the form of song lyrics. And that was my real ambition until maybe mid-20s when I discovered, hey, I can't really sing, but I can write. And so then I thought I'd love to just write books for kids full time.
And hasn't that worked out well? The next question is from Annabelle, who's 9 years old and lives in Northcote in Melbourne.
My question is, when you were a kid, who was your favourite author and why?
Oh, look, I had a few. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. I loved that book. Dr. Seuss, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, just pure rhyming nonsense. And my very favourite, Enid Blyton, who wrote The Magic Faraway Tree and The Wishing Chair and tales of like really nutty fantasy where the kids would get into trouble right at the beginning of the book and the adults were gone and anything could happen.
Very important for any children's book. What was the name of the saucepan man, the Mr. Saucepan Head? No, from the Magic Faraway Tree.
I think he was called the Saucepan Man. I haven't read it recently, but they were unpredictable characters living in a tree. Where on earth do you think I got the inspiration for the Treehouse series?
It's a mystery. Begin to imagine. Now we have a great question from Aidan, who's in Year 5 and lives in Fairlight in Sydney.
My question is, what inspired you to be a writer? I am Year 5 and I find writing challenging.
I was always writing something for somebody, and it was to make them react in some way. And often that might be to make them laugh, to write something so ridiculous that they would go, what? This is so silly, it's funny. Or my other favourite was to write something so disgusting that it made them go, oh, that's disgusting. How could you even think of that? And I would take that as a challenge. And I go, you think I can think of many more disgusting things than that. So it was always a game I was playing with the other person, my friends, my family. So I would suggest, Aidan, think of it as a game where you're doing something to the reader, and it might be annoying them, or it might be creating a story that doesn't really exist but seems to be true.
That's excellent advice. Thanks, Andy. Now, 8-year-old Archie from Lane Cove, also in Sydney, has what I would describe as a thoughtful question for you now.
Is there ever a time where you thought your books wouldn't be successful, and what helped you through that worry?
That is a great question. And early on, I really wanted to pass on the type of funny nonsense that I enjoyed as a child reader. And I was worried that was going to get lost. And so I was desperate to get it to the next generation. And I did worry that I might never find a publisher. It took 10 years in the end. But I dealt with it by working really hard, finding out everything I could about writing, practicing for a number of hours a day, also going for a walk every day. Just doing some physical exercise can make you calm. This is not just for being a writer, but for anything. It helps your body process anxiety. And so I recommend writing and also exercise as two crucial things.
Now, that's an interesting point. We often talk here at Squiz Kids about, that sometimes you need failure as an important part of life. And the people whom we look at who have had great success didn't happen to them quickly and automatically. You said it took 10 years for you to find a publisher.
Yeah, and there were many attempts and many rejections from publishers and magazines. But often they would say something, look, we liked this, but we didn't think this worked. And so I'd go, okay, I got close, but let's see if I can fix up that problem, better characters or more detail in my stories. That was one I needed to learn. So every inverted comma failure was a clue to eventual success.
There you go, straight from Andy Griffiths himself. Let's head to Tasmania now, where 8-year-old George from Ulverston has a question that a lot of kids asked us.
Which one feature of the Treehouse series do you wish you had in your real home?
Ah, good question. Which one feature of the Treehouse series do you wish you had in your own home, Andy?
Oh, that is so cruel. It's a cruel question because obviously I put them all in because they're all things that I would want. Except, can I say the one I wouldn't want?
Yeah.
It's a chainsaw juggling level. That was mystifying to me, why people find that so amusing, where people lose body parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, the exploding eyeball level was a reader suggestion. And I said, who would want to go into an exploding eyeball level? And it was a whole class of kids, actually, and they all put up their hand, me. And I went, all right, there's no rules in the Treehouse. I'm not going to stop you.
There you go.
But I would never go in that level. for goodness sakes.
I'm not sure that's a level for me either. I must be getting old. Now, here's another Treehouse-related question from Evie, and I'm intrigued to hear your answer to this one.
Which of the Treehouse books would you love to see as a movie, and which actors would play Terry, Jill, and yourself?
Now that's an easy question because it would be the 78-story Treehouse, which is where they try to make a movie of the Treehouse. Mr. Big Shot comes from Hollywood, but the first thing he does is he sacks Andy because he says, "We don't need a narrator." And I'm going, "But I'm one of the characters." And he goes, "No, you're a narrator. Get out of my way. We're going to replace you with a monkey called Mel Gibbon." And then Terry becomes best friends with the monkey, and I get all left out and all sad. So who would play us? Obviously, I would play me, Terry would play Terry, and Jill would play Jill. That would be my ideal film.
And if they had to cast somebody from Hollywood who clearly wouldn't be able to be as charismatic as you, but who would you want to play you?
The monkey. A monkey would do, and he'd probably... any monkey would probably be a better actor than I am too. So yeah, I don't have high standards.
Now, here's a left field question from 10-year-old Rachel in Lakes Entrance, and I'm hoping listeners are not eating their breakfast right now. Take it away, Rachel.
My question is, should kids be allowed to pick their boogers, and if so, should they be allowed to eat them? Please?
Ew! Gross!
No and no. I covered this in 101 Disgusting Things in Just Disgusting. I was making a list of the most disgusting things I could think of, and one of them was picking your nose. The next one was picking your nose and eating it. Ugh. And the next one was picking somebody else's nose and eating it.
That's the absolute height of disgusting. Another interesting question now about the writing process, again from Jun Ning in Vermont South in Melbourne.
How's life as an author? Do you need to travel around a lot to get inspiration? Or do you just sit there and wonder what your book is going to be about?
Great to hear from you. I grew up in Vermont, just a little bit south of Vermont South is south of Vermont. Traveling around, it begins with sitting in a one spot, thinking of a problem or a story you might like to tell, and then you can get up and move around and travel, and your mind is kind of thinking about the story, and it will see random things that you might have ignored, but you might see something and you go, "Oh, I could use that in my story." So then you need to go back and sit down for a while because you can't write while you're running around. But it's a combination of a little bit of work and then take the pressure off, go outside, go for a holiday, and you'll find your brain is tuned to what you were thinking about. So great question, and it is a combination of both.
Really insightful questions from the kids in this particular Q&A. Still on the writing theme, let's head back up to the Sunshine State now, where 13-year-old Millie from Brisbane has an excellent question.
What do you do when your imagination goes quiet? Do you ever get stuck? And how do you get unstuck?
When my imagination goes quiet, I celebrate. I think, oh, this is nice not to be having stupid ideas all day long. What if this? What if that? But seriously, I mean, that's really quite a pleasant thing. My imagination goes quiet. Often I listen to music. And that actually makes it harder for me to think, but it fills me with good feelings and inspiration for when I'm ready to think again. But if my imagination goes quiet, I would just pick up a pen, put a timer on, like 3 minutes, and I would just say, I've got to write without stopping for 3 minutes. Anything that comes into my head. And often by the end of the 3 minutes, I've found something that I might like to keep going with.
Amazing. That's amazing. It's incredible.
It's always there.
Yeah, and it is always there, isn't it? It's just getting your brain into the right gear.
Or to draw a picture. I might design a fake book cover. Just draw a rectangle, draw a bizarre picture, think of a title, that might look good with that picture, and then I think of the first line. It may not lead to an eventual book, but it'll be a stepping stone to somewhere else that is useful.
This is remarkable, kids. We are getting an insight into the way Australia's best-selling kids author works. Our next question comes from Finn in Dingley Village in Victoria. Now, Finn recently did a bookmaking workshop at the State Library in Melbourne, which sounds amazing. And he saw the dome room that you apparently sat in to come up with the idea for and to start writing the 13-story Treehouse book, where apparently there was a shusher who sat in the middle of the room and shushed anyone who made a noise. So Finn's question is...
Was Andy shushed in the dome room?
I didn't get shushed in the reading dome at the State Library, but at my school library, we had she was a fantastic librarian, but she would be very vigilant about shushing anyone who was not reading and was messing around. But I loved her because she would put unusual books in the library that you might not think kids would want. And there's one I remember, 13 Ways to Dispose of a Body. and they were all the crime stories. And it said, the murder's the easy part. It's getting rid of the body that's the problem. And when I was 12 years old, that was fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So books like that, 2001, A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke, they were the books that I was so grateful were just in the library for me to discover and go on a whole new adventure with.
And a shout out, we have lots and lots of librarians who listen to Squiz Kids, and a shout out to the amazing job that they all do. Absolutely. Andy, that's 10 questions. Do you reckon, though, you might have time for 4 more?
I've got time for 4 more. That's not a problem at all.
You are a gentleman and a scholar. Okay, let's go to Western Australia again, to Wattle Grove, where 9-year-old Zion has a question, which I think shows that he is clearly a very thoughtful young man.
Who's your best friend and what is your favourite activity to do together?
Oh, I'd say my best friend is Jill, who in real life is called Jill, and she's my wife and editor. That's how we met. I come up with raw material, rough material, and Jill refines it. She says, right, you've got a big jumble here. Let me help you order it. And so I love doing that with her when we're working on rough material. It's like having a jigsaw puzzle to do, and you're both working to make sense of, to make the picture or the story become clear. So yeah, she's definitely my best friend. And Terry, of course, was my best enemy. And Bill Hope is in the process of becoming my enemy, but we have a lot of fun.
He's your enemy in waiting. Back across to Melbourne now, where 11-year-old Benjamin wants to clamber back into the treehouse with his question. Take it away, Benjamin.
What's the most outrageous idea that didn't make a treehouse book but you wish that had?
Okay, I'll tell you, Jill will be cross because one of Jill's pastimes is doodling. So she loves just making very intricate designs, and sometimes she takes an animal like a stegosaurus or a cat and just doodles in the middle of it, and she calls them her doodle animals. And I said to her one day, I want a story where Jill in the treehouse has actual doodle animals, and one day she wakes up and their doodles are missing. and she said, no, it's too rude. And I was like, but it's just doodles.
And they're missing,
there you go.
So you won't have to see them.
I've never told that to anybody, but there you are for your imagination.
There you go. You've heard it. You heard it here first, Squiz Kids. Second last question. How are you travelling there, Andy? You reckon you've got 2 more questions in?
Oh, yeah. You're getting the real truth out of me now.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're getting the good stuff. We're diving deep now. Let's scoot across to Melbourne, to Narromburn now, where Audrey has a very interesting question.
My question for you is, what emotions do you feel while you're writing your books?
I feel all the emotions that the characters are feeling. So it's a very interesting state because I know it's not real, But if Terry has fallen into the shark tank in the story, I have to feel the fear and the panic that I would feel in real life, hopefully. Yeah. I go, oh no, Terry's fallen in the shark. What am I going to do? So when I write my characters, I'm not trying to think of the funny thing that they would do. I'm trying to think of the appropriate thing that they would do. And in this case, it might be calling Jill, because Jill knows, how to deal with sharks and things. So, I feel scared. I feel exhilarated. But if you tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, it's lunchtime, I'm like, oh, yeah, good. Yeah, I'm not actually scared, but I've been feeling it. So it's make-believe, and that helps me to write the stories.
Amazing. And finally, drum roll, please. The final question for this Squiz Kids Q&A with Andy Griffiths, and it comes from Zane, who lives in beautiful Elanora on the Gold Coast in Queensland.
What do you hope kids feel when they finish your book?
I want them to feel exhilarated and like, that was really fantastic. What a great adventure I've just had in my imagination with this book and these characters. I want to go get another book immediately. So it's the exhilaration and the joyfulness that I really love from the books that I read and the books that I create. I want to recreate that same love of being alive. It's an amazing thing to be alive, and books are one part of that.
It sure is. It most assuredly is. Well, you did it, Andy. You survived another Squiz Kids Q&A. You're getting very good at these.
I don't think we'll need to do any more now. I think I must have answered every question that there ever was.
Every question, every possible question. Now, I'm sure you're desperate to get back to the writing desk, or maybe not.
Not really, no.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
But before you go, as promised, we have a prize for the best question asked of you today. And that prize, of course, is a double pass to see you live on stage at the Sydney Opera House on September 6. Andy, we're going to ask you now to select the winner.
That's a tough question, because there were some very thoughtful, excellent questions.
Sure.
They were all thoughtful and excellent. I think maybe Aidan, reluctant writer, who was struggling with the idea of writing. I think Aidan might really enjoy the show, because I think he'll see me and Bill playing together and get the idea that writing is really a form of play, and anyone can jump in.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations, Aidan. We'll be in touch with you via email. And congratulations to every one of the kids whose questions were selected for this Q&A. You've all won yourself a copy of Andy's new book, You and Me and the Peanut Butter Beast. And we'll be in touch with you also via email. Thank you again to all the Squiz Kids who sent in questions. We would love to have used every single one of them, but we just ran out of time. We didn't have, I don't think Andy would have been all that interested in answering 275 questions.
Yeah, I would have actually, because then I don't have to go back to work.
Thank you, Andy, for taking the time to chat to us today.
Thank you.
And remember, folks, the Squiz Kids podcast, a daily fix of kid-appropriate news, is out every morning via squizkids.com.au or wherever you find your podcasts. This is Bryce Corbett signing off. And Andy, would you please do the honours of the traditional Squiz Kids sign-off?
Now get out there and have a most excellent day.
Over and out.